While we learn about the opposition on the pitch, Wiser learns how to heat my home.
Ricky, you challenged the boys to go out, play with a smile, score some tries and win the game. That's what they've done for you.
Yeah, they did. We said before the game in the meeting that we wanted to be able to come back in at the end of the game and be proud of the performance that we put in, and we can definitely do that. We also said that if we could back that up, then the result would look after itself, and sort of show there the fight and the character to come back from points down. When Worcester clearly had the momentum in that last sort of 10 to 15 minutes, to rip that back off them and then to win the game the way that we did was full credit to the guys and how hard they've worked, not just only today but in the week as well. It wasn't perfect. There was bits in and around the game and how we wanted to play the game we didn't implement, but to show the credit, show the character and the credit that we did to come back in was exactly what we look for as a coaching setup.
You're not sure what's going to happen now in terms of qualification, if you qualify or anything, but the positives you take from today and some real big performances. Yeah,
definitely. If you look at Max Norrie at hooker, to get a hat-trick and to play the way that he did was outstanding. He's been ticking along quite nicely in terms of being in and around the Premiership squad. But what he did do today is he stood up and offered himself a lot around the carries, and his ball carrying is obviously his main strength, and he was very good, very good. And then Arthur Elton on the wing, backed up what he's been doing in the Bucks, being the top try scorer and showing what he can do with ball in hand. So we're sprinkling of other players right across the board, not just those two. I thought everyone at some point had a moment in the game where they offered and showed what they could do.
And you saw the senior stars, like the Grondona, Cordero, Townsend, Whitty, those last two in particular coming back from injury, key that they're coming back now.
Yeah, definitely, and that'll add like extra emphasis in going back into the Leicester week. But also at key times today, those senior players stood up, and actually took control of the game, which we needed to do, and then the guys coming off the bench really made an impact, and that's the most pleasing thing is that when we were points behind, when we made the changes, we didn't just sort of take our foot off the gas. We actually went out and ripped the game back off Worcester.
You talked about as well the players leading themselves this week. You wanted to almost be on the sidelines watching. You do your coaching, but you want to watch. But they did lead today, some of those.
Yeah, they did. I think there's a couple of bits around how we wanted to play the game in that middle third, and we came in at half time and we sort of talked as coaches around the bits that we wanted to implement. But then it's like about stepping back, letting them take control of the game, and they'll have bigger learning moments if they're the ones that are making the decisions and that, and I think they did that today. With Stu and Walshy as well in a half-back partnership, they controlled the game at key times.
You talked about the importance of this competition and how it can act as a stepping stone for greater things. We've seen it with other players in the past. We've seen that again today, and hopefully in time it'll be used again as this calls again.
Yeah, definitely. This cup competition is something that we get behind and we back, because it's a massive part of not only just building our squad and building momentum in the Premiership, but it's also a part of our players' development pathway. And it showed today, and it showed in other games, that there's a lot of players that will take a step forward in their careers in terms of how they're moving on that pathway, but also as well there'll be players there today who will play a big part in what's going to happen going forward into what is an exciting end to the end of the season.
You've talked about our players. There were some players that came in today. Sam Pryor at number 8 did really, really well. Tom Hitchcock in the centre, Sam Leeworthy coming off the bench. Guys that have never tasted anything like this before.
No, obviously Sam Leeworthy and Sam Pryor have come down from Taunton. There's a big thank you for Taunton for allowing us to have them, but also for those guys to come in and give up their time. Sam Pryor was away at Centre Parks on a family holiday, and he chose to come down and train with us all week, and it showed today that he's a big guy, he's a big ball carrier, and he was one of the guys in that first 20 to 30 minutes give us a real quality go forward, and he showed that he could step up, and that's why he's a big man, so for him to be able to play at that speed and for that long was full credit to him. And then Sam Lee, where he's a young player who's come through our academy, he's obviously now plying his trade at Taunton, he came on there, and then obviously Tom Hitchcock I thought was outstanding. He gave us some real go forward in the midfield around our set plays, and actually when we were attacking he found space really well, so for those guys moving forward it'll be a hell of a day for them, but also a big thank you to not just our loan clubs who've developed our players, but also Taunton for allowing them to play.
That bounce back ability as well from last week also leads nicely into next week. It's given the whole club a boost to go into the Leicester game with.
Yeah, definitely. If you look in the change rooms there at the end, the whole squad's in there, obviously celebrating the win, and that's going to build some momentum now going back into Leicester. obviously the Worcester result wasn't something that we wanted, but we did show a lot of character to come back into that game and fight the way we did with obviously the red card. And what we've done today will play a big part into next weekend, into Leicester and the whole feel around the club. We've got a hell of a week now coming up, building into Leicester obviously on the Sunday, but then also games after that, and this will be a big part in what happens now moving forward into keeping us in that top four and then hopefully pushing on to what is going to be a real good end to the season.
Thanks, Rick.